Millions of bisons roamed North America in prehistoric times. Many Native American tribes depended on bison for food, clothing, and shelter. But by the late 1800s, only a few hundred bison were left in the United States. As European settlers pushed west, they reduced the animals' habitat and hunting them to near extinction. Today, while not endangered, bisons are not doing very well. The American bison is listed as near threatened by the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List. Yes, they are an endangered species. This has been going on for some time. The American bison has only 19,000 total plains bisons and 54 conservative herds and 11,000 total wood bison and 11 conservation herds, according to the IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. There are about 500,000 bisons living on preserves and ranches, according to the National Geographic. Now, there's also another bison, the European bison, which is listed as vulnerable as well. Now, the organization which does the statistics on bison believes that there may be less than 1,000 mature European bison in existence. Now, just so you know, bisons, both male as well as female bisons, have horns. Bisons are typically brown in color, and you will rarely see a white bison running around or being born. These bisons were worshipped by Native Americans. Now, bisons are pretty big and buff. Look like they're pretty slow on their feet. But think again, bisons are fast runners. They can run up to 40 miles per hour, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, just be alarmed, be aware, when bisons, when they tails stick up, when they tails stick straight up, that means the animal is angry. So I know a lot of people like to agitate these bisons. A lot of people go on vacation to the Yellowstone National Park, and you can get up and close with a bison. Now, they'll warn you not to agitate the bison, but humans, we don't listen. Yes, the bison don't like being agitated, and when they get sick of being annoyed by us humans, guess what? They will attack. They will attack, they will ram us with our horns, they will flip us 20 feet in the air continuously until they maul us into the ground. Now, bisons, they have great physicality. As you see, they're built like a mountain with horns and legs. A large, even-toed, broad, muscular, shaggy coat wearing, long hair having North American bison that can roughly weigh around 2,200 pounds. Now, according to a 2000 study, they say them Yellowstone bisons are actually more dangerous than the bears located there at Yellowstone. The study found that the bisons had charged human beings over 80 times within 22 years and killing 2 of those people. Now, the grizzly bears, they're at the same park, Yellowstone National Park, had only injured 30 and killed 2. But that's still quite alarming those numbers are still quite alarming. Now, bisons are going out looking for humans to attack, best believe. We're on their land. Now, there's a lot of buffalo hunters out there, and at one time, the great seeds of wild American bisons roamed the plains of the western states. History is full of stories of the Indian tribes that followed the great herds of thousands of buffaloes across the states. There are means of finding food, whether it's food from following the herd, because animals have a great instinct when it comes to finding water, finding food. Better instinct than humans. So yes, the Native Americans, their tribe followed the great herds of these buffaloes. That was in thousands of herds. Now, if they couldn't find food for their survival, they couldn't find clothing for their survival, then yes, they hunted the buffalo. As you know, buffalo, their coats are very warm. And just looking at buffaloes, they look very meaty. Now, like I said, the adult males, they can reach about 2,200 pounds. The female is a little smaller, about 1,200 pounds. Now, they are very protective. I don't know if they call them calves. I don't know what they call a baby buffalo, but maybe a baby buffalo. Yeah, they're very protective. Now, the bisons, they have very few predators. Now, you can think of maybe a pack of wolves that may prey on the young or the weak, but they ain't running up on a healthy, big 2,200 pound buffalo. Now, the only other predator could be humans. Humans do hunt buffaloes, especially during the great expansion to the west. Buffalo pelts became highly sought after. This resulted in the great slaughtering of the once large population of the wild herds. They then sold the hides back to the east and traded for fur. Now, the predators I see these bisons having is us humans, especially during the great expansion to the west. Bison pelts or buffalo pelts became highly sought after. You know, people coming from the east, migrating to the west, would slaughter these wild herds of buffalo and bison at large, alarming rates. They then sold the hides, they then sold the pelts back east to the fur traders. Now, and also, you know, like I said earlier, wolves, pack of wolves were also a predator to the bison, but they were generally hunt out the bison that would separate from the pack, or the young bison, the baby bison, or the calf, you might say, or one of the weaker bisons or buffaloes. They would hunt them down, you know, because they're smart. The wolves know there's no one-on-one. There's no wolf going ahead with no bison. So you definitely have to take down bisons in the pack. And the wolves had to do it for food. This was their only way of survival in the conditions where they were located. Now, like I said before, humans still haven't learned We have to keep the wild in the wild. We have to stop domesticating these wild animals if it's not for the greater good. Now, of course, there were many animals out there that were extinct, and people came along, us human beings came along, and we helped preserve these animals until they were able to build large enough numbers to be released in the wild again to produce. So that's the only way I can see putting wild animals in captivity, especially if they're going to extinction. But when you're at a national park, or you're at a zoo and you're face to face, you close up, and maybe there's not even borders, especially at the Yellowstone National Park, you can definitely get close up. They tell you not to agitate the bisons. They tell you not to annoy the bisons. But that brings me to this 34-year-old Colorado man who was gored by a charging bison at the Yellowstone National Park. He was with his family. The man was in a group with his family walking along the boardwalk in the park near the Old Faithful geyser when a bull bison charged. Now, family members did not leave the area, and the bull bison continued to charge and gore the man. So it sounded like the bison did give out some warnings. Charge once, just to emit a little bit of fear. But as you know, as humans, we like to test people. And if we like to test people, we're definitely going to test the animal to the highest degree. We're going to annoy you. We're going to agitate you. We're going to aggravate you. And that's what this 34-year-old guy did. There's a video that was obtained by CNN where you can actually see the bison running towards the group, which included 2 other adults and a child. Now the animal stopped at the boardwalk, shook its head, and put his head to the ground, then jumped over the boardwalk and charged at the people, who began running. The man, who has not been identified, grabbed a child who was in front of the charging bison. Now, this massive bison then struck the man with its head, lifting both the man and the child into the air. The 2 then jumped up and sprinted away from the bison, which eventually began walking in the opposite direction, which is safe to say. But the man's arm was injured in attack, and he was transported to a regional medical center. But come on, people, stop playing with the wild. Nowadays, with social media taking effect, everybody wants to get a close-up, everyone wants to get a selfie, everyone wants to go viral, and I'm quite sure this guy did something to aggravate the bison. So we have to learn something from this incident and many other incidents. Like I said, let the animals roam alone. They're wild animals. Do not domesticate. Do not aggravate. Do not agitate.